Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on in. It's time for us to get started again and for us to have a new day. I don't usually date these things, and they tell us don't really date it. That way it can be used all the time. But I'm going to date it. September 10th. Tomorrow is my big day of 41 years of being in a wheelchair paralyzed. So, little countdown for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be having a live going over, telling exactly how I got in the wheelchair for the ones that don't know. For the ones that do know, just grab some popcorn, get your favorite beverage, follow along, enjoy, and go from there. Today, we're going to talk about, sometimes we just don't feel right, fit in, because something's going on, and it may take us a while to figure it out. All right, for our guest coming up here, Carolyn, she said for many years she had a silent struggle with depression, anxiety. A lot of us go through that, right? Okay. But for it to hinder you in your studies in schools, no matter how hard she had worked, no matter how many tutors she had, she found it hard to study. And she didn't feel successful. Having depression and anxiety compounded her feelings internally in every situation she interacted with. During her sophomore year in high school, she found out she had a learning difference called a nonverbal learning disability. And she felt alone with that. So today we're going to talk about how she overcame her learning disability to be able to be successful and to help you in the long run. So welcome to the show right here, Carolyn Skowron.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Carolyn Sophia.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Those are together? Or do you always go Carolyn Sophia or
Carolyn,
just Carolyn?
Well, Sophia's my middle name. And since, we'll get into it, but since it's on the book, it's kind of been something I've been going by a lot.
Book? You got a book?
Yes,
this
I
one
do.
Like this one right here?
Yeah, that's it. Unbreakable. The reason I do go by Carolyn Sophia is because my grandma's name was Sophie. And as a homage to her, my dad and I were talking about, just kind of how I was going to put on the book and everything. And we thought it'd be a nice homage to her to put my middle name, Sophia, which is named after her. So that's kind of why I go by Carolyn Sophia a lot of the time now.
There you go. Good deal. And there's nothing wrong with promoting the ones that we could say kind of brought you here, huh?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for grandmother, then the other ones wouldn't come along, right?
For sure. Then my dad wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So
that's right. So so there's nothing wrong with giving some tribute for those in the family ranks. It doesn't have to be a family member. I mean, you can name yourself after, I don't know, Joe Blow himself because you love Joe Blow. So, all right. All right, Carolyn, let's go to get started here. You struggle with school. A lot of us did, right? A lot of us struggle with school, and a lot of us go through this depression, anxieties, and they come and go, and some stay longer than others. And then it doesn't matter how great life's going, we'll get kicked in the teeth again with it later on in life. But then to find out about your nonverbal learning disability, that kind of give you a more peace going, oh, that may explain some things? Or did you go, oh crap, not something else?
Yeah, that was pretty much the reaction when I first found out. I was like, oh my gosh, like something else that's going to make me even more different from the other kids, something else that's going to, hopefully people won't make fun of me because of my nonverbal learning disability, I'm very bad at math. And right before I found out that I had my learning disability, I was in the remedial math. So I was like, oh, of course, here we go again. Here's something else that's wrong with me. I was already struggling a lot with anxiety and depression at the time. So at first, I really struggled with finding out about it. But the older I've gotten, the more I've taken it as an opportunity to learn more about myself, why I am the way that I am, why I am reacting the way I certainly do to certain situations, or, just some of my not I would say weaknesses, I guess you could say. But like spatial awareness and stuff is still something to this day I struggle with. And that's why my best friends make fun of my parallel parking, because sometimes I just need them to do it. So it definitely still affects me today, but I look at it at such a different light now.
Now they got those geniuses cars out there. You can push a button and it'll parallel park for you.
Yeah, I know. I need one of those.
I saw a thing back in they were showing cars when they were first built and everything, and they were showing these cars back then that they had little devices put on the cars. They'll parallel park or to turn around and things like it. One of them had an extra wheel like on underneath the trunk. It would you push a button and the wheel would come down, and then it would spin the car around like a 360 degrees.
Wow.
for people to be able to get their car in a position to back up into the garage or something like that. So it's amazing. I don't think that works anymore. I don't think they do that anymore. But
I don't think they do either.
Had that little idea to do that, and so they made money for a while. But it's funny. I don't throw off the show. I'm one of them guys that I wonder when people invent something, what's going on in their mind to be the first person to figure that out. I'm just enthralled by that. Like, for example, I forgot the name of that coffee that's like $500 a cup. It's real, expensive coffee. It's supposed to be good. But my understanding, what happened is this certain monkey eats his coffee bean, goes through his intestines, he craps it out, and then someone comes and picks that bean out. Something with his digestive system breaks the enzymes down, and that makes the coffee even better. Now, my thinking is, who was the first person to go, I bet that shit tastes pretty good.
I would love to know, because I don't think that would ever be me.
It definitely wouldn't be me, but first person's got to go, I bet you that's going to taste pretty good after I dig it out of that monkey crap.
I never knew that was a thing, so now I'm gonna have to
yeah. Go research it and look it up. But there's some coffee, it's $500 a glass. It's that good. So I said I'll stick to my $3 cup. So
yeah.
All right. But I have other stories on that. That's something totally different. All right, now explain to us what the nonverbal learning disability. Explain more what that means.
Yeah, so basically you're highly verbal, but you struggle a lot in school. So it made sense why math and science were like almost impossible for me. You're really good with attention to detail, and you're good about like communicating with people. You're very creative, but you do struggle with, for me, it's spatial awareness. It's also, some mentally things that I have to like get through, like kind of just like mentally where my head's at with, internalization and stuff like that, because, having depression and anxiety on top of all of that, it just kind of, with the nonverbal learning disability, it just amplified that even more and made it even harder to comprehend for me, just because I, internalization is something I've done my whole life, and it really kind of got me not in a good place. So that's kind of, a thing that still I to this day have to kind of keep in mind about like when I am internalizing situations. And years of therapy later and being self-aware, I definitely am more, I'm prone to know when it happens now, but I definitely was not always like that.
Yeah, and it's already hard enough in school just trying to fit in, much less trying to make that grade, to keep mom and dad happy too. And so, especially, there's no way I'd want to be in high school or middle school or even elementary with all this school shooting today.
Oh my gosh.
No way would I want to be involved. I'm glad I'm done and out and done with all that.
That's another thing too, though, is I'm very passionate about, not only being a mental health advocate, but anti-bullying, because if you think about it, a lot of these school, shooters are kids who are quiet or they are bullied. And I think that it's so important that we talk about that before it becomes an issue. I mean, it's terrifying to think that these kids are wondering if their parents are wondering if they're going to come home. I mean, that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
And that's not fair. And these kids deserve better. And we have to do better for these kids, because if we don't amplify our voices now, no one is going to, and no one is going to make a change. So it really does come down to the adults, the younger generation, to really be like, listen, like, how can we make a change about this? How can we make these kids feel safe? Because this just cannot go on like this. I mean, in the last week, I mean, my heart is shattered and broken, and I'm praying for those families who have lost their child, or, you know, even those teachers. But it's just, there has to be something done about it. And, you know, it really does come back to mental health and figuring out, you know, like, oh, where are people, maybe even psych evaluations in schools. I don't know what they need to do. I mean, I'm not a, like, you know, superintendent or anything, but they need to make some changes, because it's just, this cannot continue.
Obviously what they're doing is not working. And I feel sorry for the shooter just in one point. And you mentioned it, that they've been bullied, been lonely. And to me, and I don't know the whole stories of all of them, but you got to question, did you tell a teacher beforehand? Did the teacher do anything? Did they listen? Did they ignore? Okay. I was a school teacher for a while. And I remember one year, seventh grade teacher. And I remember one year, which was like 2 weeks left of school, one kid passed me to go to lunch. And I said, hey, whatever the dude's name was, hey, how you doing, man? He goes, not so good. And kept walking. And I said, oh, man, I got to stop, see what's up, you know? And he said he was been bullied. And he said it's been going on all year long and no one's done anything about it. And I said, have you talked to me about it? I said, because I guarantee you I'll have something done about it. And he said, I know I told a couple other teachers and I've been bullied all year. And so by the time I got done with, those couple of boys were suspended for 3 or 4 days and told to leave them alone. Now, all that means is leave them alone during the school day, right? And during school, at home, they're doing whatever. You know, they can't control that. So, but that's it. You know, one of the things, again, what they're doing is not working.
No.
They need to find up with something, and you've got to listen to these kids.
Yes.
So that's the only thing I feel bad is about is, and to me, if you are bullied and if you shot the bullier, which is still wrong,
right,
totally wrong, but that could be more justified than just shooting anybody and everybody. You know, so, but again, all of it's totally wrong.
So wrong.
Man.
Yeah.
So,
it breaks my heart, honestly, too, because those kids, just like, you know, even too, obviously so many kids are struggling mentally, and they, you know, are really like depressed and alone. And the amount of kids today that are just feeling like that feeling that, you know, just they don't belong, or that no one understands, and all this stuff. It's like, it starts there and it just amplifies and gets worse to where these mass shootings have happened. And it just, I genuinely I want to just give a hug to everyone who has lost their daughter, son, mother, father.
Well, all these innocent people, and even the bully. I feel bad, you know, what happened, you know, with the shoot stuff like that. But something's got to be done to make it better for these kids growing up today. And something's got to be done with this social media where people can get these dummy accounts and bully, and they're not held accountable when you know they can trace that dummy account to exactly where it came from with the whatever you call it, address, you know, when you type it in, you know. So they can, but they don't take the time to figure all that out. So,
cyberbullying is a huge issue right now too. Actually,
yes.
It's a good point you brought that up, because, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a kid in school or a grown adult, people are dealing with this. And also too, like, I actually genuinely feel bad for all the celebrities that do get cyberbullied, because I'm like, first of all, these people don't even know them, and yet now they're trying to come in and attack them. And it's wrong. And it's just like, why are you trying to shit on someone else because you're so unhappy with yourself that it's better to try to make other people cry? I fully cannot comprehend it. And maybe that's a good thing, But it blows my mind that people are so comfortable behind the screen saying horrible things. Would you say that in person? Because if you did, like, you got to recheck yourself. It's just,
yeah.
it's not right. It's not fair. And honestly, everyone does deserve the justice to live a life of freedom, not trying to have people tear you down all the
Within
time.
fear. Within fear.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're 1,000% correct on that. I tell people they friends of mine and other people that say, "Oh, I looked you up on Facebook trying to go," and I have a Facebook account. Don't get me wrong. I said, "Yeah, I'm not on it 24 hours a day like a lot of people." I said, "I'll pop in, look and see if someone cussed me out, and then I get off of it. I don't care to take a picture of my dinner and let everybody look at it. I don't care. I mean, you do it, you have fun with it, everything. I use it for other reasons." So
No, for sure. I mean, I think that's the thing too, like with social media is, these kids are so desensitized because they're on their phones 24/7. They're always connected. They're never not with, the internet pretty much. And it's so harmful and detrimental to these kids because, kids aren't even being kids anymore
no.
and we're losing kids younger and younger each day. And the couple stories that I've come across in the last couple of days, I mean, I literally, I wanted to cry. I was like, these poor kids do not deserve this. We need to do better for them. They're getting bullied. They're getting ridiculed for what? For being different, for not being the same as everyone else. Newsflash, no one is the same. But yet we live in a society where we try to emulate everyone else except our own personalities and who we really are. No one is everyone's afraid of being vulnerable.
Yeah, the school system I was in that had I guess, uh, I guess two-sided coin. I guess we were supposed to make sure that they're wearing the right clothing, covering up everything. All right, but then if they wear something that shows who they really are, want to be, and if we don't agree with that, we're supposed to report them. But they tell them to let them have their individuality. But again, if they wear something that's not agreeable on their guidelines, then they're in trouble. So they're not doing their own individuality like it. So I thought that was kind of wrong to tell the kids that, and then you're punishing them for it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, listen, for 22 years, I lived the life that I thought everyone else wanted me to live except for myself. I was everyone else but me. I was so afraid to be unapologetically myself that I put on these facades of who I was. Like in college, I would put on this facade of that I was a partier when in reality, I would rather be at home watching Netflix with my cat or my friends, so it's just, and then when I finally did become my authentically, unapologetically myself, I attracted the friends that I have now who genuinely love me for me. And I don't have to put on a show or facade with them. And, if I am like, hey, let's just hang out, I don't feel like going out. They're like, yeah, of course. I don't need to do that either. And it's just finding people who you can have fun without alcohol with. I mean, that's when you found your people.
exactly. I was going to say, isn't it great when you finally can figure out who you truly are and know you don't have to worry about anybody giving a shit about anymore. I mean, because I was an athlete when I went through high school and stuff, and go to these parties, and I'll see these other friends of mine and athletes smoking and drinking, doing their thing. Well, I didn't smoke and I didn't drink, but I didn't mind going to parties just to be around other people. But
Yeah. To be
still, the
cool.
social pressure of, here, James, have a drink. No, I don't drink. Here, James, smoke. No, I don't smoke.
Mhm.
Hey, I'll watch you and laugh at you, okay, because you get stupid when you do this stuff, but I don't care to do it. But so when you finally get that group around you where all of you are supporting each other, you want the best for everybody and forget what the outside world is doing, that's when you finally get some peace.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I go out with my friends now and they'll get a glass of wine and they'll be like, "Do you want to drink?" And I'll be like, "No." And they'll be like, "All right, that's fine. Get your mocktail or whatever." And I love that I just genuinely have that peace at mind because when you're in high school, I mean, I was not invited to those parties. I was not cool. I just remember seeing all the posts about them on social media and stuff. But half the time those parties did get busted. So like, was I really missing out on that?
Yeah.
Or, was being a loser really that bad? Because it might have actually saved me from a lot of bad situations. And
And
that's for sure.
Same thing. You're a little bit younger than me. I'll say a lot younger than me. Okay. But it's sad to me because the older I'm getting, I'm seeing my classmates passing away. And the sad thing is there's been two of them. They were boyfriend, girlfriend in high school. Of course, they grew up and married other people and everything. But where they drank and smoked and did dope that whole time, they never grew out of it. And eventually, and this is again, boy, girl, that again, married other people, but one of them died like in May of a certain year. And just a month later, the other one passed away.
Wow.
And they lived totally different cities, different counties. But again, they just never outgrew that drinking and stuff and just kept doing it. And yeah, it was sad because they both died within a month of each other in the same year.
That's really
These people,
heartbreaking.
but it just, yeah, just where they never outgrew it. They got so addicted to it that they could not grow it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, is like people get addicted to that social acceptance that they'll put themselves at risk. I mean, I just even remember in college too, I so badly wanted to be cool and I so badly wanted to fit in. And, those really just weren't my friends, but I just, tried so hard to do anything and everything I could to be like them. But sometimes you end up compromising yourself, and that's just not who I am. And, it breaks my heart that there's still so many people who have yet to find that out for themselves. Because, when you're putting on the societal pressure of you have to be perfect, you have to do this, you have to drink, you have to go to the parties, you have to like be cool, doing all these other things. It's like, but what do you want? What life do you want for you? Do you want to be doing all of this? Is this going to be good for your health? Number one. And number two, in 20 years from now, are you going to look back and be like, wow, I really hated who I was? Because I look back now, like 7 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I really didn't like that girl because she was so insecure and just so afraid to speak out because she was so afraid of what people thought of her. But I'm 27 now, and I think it's best to just live life with, to put it simply, just not giving a shit.
Again, like I'm a little bit older than you right now. Yeah, I'm at the point that someone starts doing something, I go, "Hey, y'all have a good day. I'm leaving." I don't even want to be. I don't care to be associated with it. I don't care to listen to them about it, and I just, hey, y'all take care. I got to go. So, yeah. All right, now if someone's struggling with some depression, and again, we all go through it. Okay, when I first got injured, I didn't realize how bad I was in a depression until I finally got out of it.
Yeah.
And we try our best to hide that. We put our big face on. People talking about putting your big boy pants on, but we put our big funny face on every time we see somebody. How you doing today, James? Hey, I'm good. How about you? Good. And then they leave, and all of a sudden you're going, you're down in the dumps and everything. But a lot of people read through that more than I thought when I went through my depression when I first got in a wheelchair. And again, when I got out of my depression is when I realized how bad I really was.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I think
what I'm saying is, or what I'm asking is, if someone comes to you, with depression again, I think there's a healthy amount of depression. It gives us to reflect back on life to see what we can do to make it better. It's just dwelling on it forever is where the problem is. Okay. So if someone comes up to you and what advice could you give to help them to try to push through?
Well, the first thing I always say is, listen, I am not a mental health professional. This is just through my experience. But I will say that one of the biggest things I always start everything with saying communicate, whether you're talking to your family members, a therapist, someone at school, make sure you're talking to someone. When you're not doing okay and you keep that to yourself, you're like almost like a ticking time bomb. And then there comes a point, which came in my life, where I literally almost exploded and completely could have lost my life. And so my biggest thing is, if you're talking about what's going on and you're communicating it, you're making the people around you aware so that they can best try to help you. And, you know, especially therapists too, they'll always try to give you certain coping mechanisms. One of the things that I always say, and, you know, something that I've learned from therapy that I've even taught my best friends, and like everyone uses it now, but it's a breathing exercise, and it's called the deep 3. So whenever you're like in a panic or, you know, an episode or whatever, you literally stop and you take 3 deep breaths. So you go 1, then you take another 1, 2, and then you take a 3rd one. And when I first started doing that, I was like, what? The more I do it, the more I realize how much it has helped me and my own mental health, because, you know, our breathing is really important, especially when you're in a bad state. So making sure that you're able to calm it down and just like get yourself back to like a good, like stable state is so important. And I think that that's definitely the biggest one. But, you know, the other thing I will say is, you know, as someone who has suffered depression, anxiety, and unfortunately self-harm, you know, I know what it's like to feel that way. And I know what it's like when people are like, it's never going to get better or this or that, because people used to tell me all the time, oh, it gets better. And I'd like roll my eyes and be like, okay, yeah, right. I'm never going to be happy. But I can honestly say that, you know, I'm very happy now with myself in my life. And, you know, I really worked a lot in therapy, but really therapy, I mean, I think everyone could use it. I think everyone deserves to have a third party to just hear them vent.
Well, I'm like you. Communication with the person that you know you can trust, that's not going to turn around and use what you say against you,
Right.
to stab you in the back, to talk to your friends, talk about other people about you and everything. You know it's going to be confidential. Again, whether it's a psychologist, psychiatrist, your minister, preacher, school bus driver, mom, dad, best friend, call a hotline. Lie what your name is. Hey, this is Carolyn. I'm Carolyn Sophia. Okay. And they're going to say, well, you don't sound like a girl there. All right. I better I'll go, Carolyn Sophia is what I'll say. And then, yeah, lie who you don't want to tell them who you are, but they're there to listen to you, to try to guide you and give you a little advice. So yep, I definitely agree with that, communicate. Yep. You're a ticking time bomb by holding it. So,
yeah, it's very true. And also too, you know, I never personally have used 988, but I think it's really important that people know that if you do need help, like immediately call 9888. They shortened it from the, you know, long number for a reason, to make it simple and easy. So really, you know, text that number, call that number. And I promise you, you know, that could be your lifeline. For me, my lifeline was more, you know, my family and my therapist and my best friend. But for someone else, it could be that hotline.
oh yeah. Yep. And then the other thing you're talking about, the old saying, time heals all wounds. Okay. It needs to be added on to it. Time heals all wounds when you do something about it.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. If you sit there and go, all right, tomorrow be a better day, and you do the same thing you did today and then do nothing different. All right, tomorrow's here again. Things will get better. No, the time heals all wound when you do something about it. So it ain't gonna. It's the whole thing. I believe that God gives us resources to use. God wants us to be the best we can, but if we don't help ourselves, He can and won't do everything for us.
I will say that's another thing too. And, you know, this is what I say, I just believe, but I'm like finding faith again, and really kind of finding something that I believed in really helped as well. I mean, for me, it was God. For someone else, it might be, you know, higher power, whatever it is. I never forced my faith on anyone.
I never pushed my religion.
Yeah,
it's whatever you believe. Yeah, whatever you believe in, whatever you think that gets you through the day. If that's you stand on and you go for it, yeah. So.
Yes, but you have to believe in something, because believing in
or
something
you believe in
is
everything.
what gives you purpose.
Yeah, That's right. To believe in something and stand for it, or you're going to fall for everything else that's out there. So,
Yes, definitely.
but I begin with me. Consider myself a Christian. I'm one of them that screws up 1,000 times a day, but I just do the best I can and move on.
I
So,
always fall. We always fall short, but I feel like at the same time, it's like I do the best I can, and I really think being a Christian is about how you treat people, and I think that you can tell a lot by a person from how they treat people, and I think, God wants us to be kind, love each other as I've loved you. I'm not trying to make it, spiritual, but it's just kind of for me. I think that's the biggest thing. Is I always say like, what would Jesus do? And so I try to act as he would. And that's why I think my purpose is using my voice through everything I've been through, because I think this story, or maybe even one person, can see it and say, I have purpose. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up on life, because September is Suicide Awareness Month. And I just really hope and pray that as many people can be saved as possible just by seeing you can get through it. You can do it. You are loved. You are enough. You deserve to be here. And really just hope that they believe that.
And let's go back up here a little bit here. You did briefly scamper over self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to get into a whole bunch of things with that. But yeah, self-mutilation, self-harm usually follows when someone stays in that depression for too long.
Yes.
It usually follows. I tell people the reason that I started my podcast is because I wanted out of this world so bad. I attempted suicide 3 times in 3 days. It's how
Wow.
bad I wanted out. And the last day, they found me sucking carbon monoxide in my van. I got out of my wheelchair, laying on the floor, just so I wouldn't roll out of the thing. And someone showed up and called paramedics. I was in the hospital 7 weeks in hyperbaric chamber, first forcing that carbon monoxide out and oxygen back in my body. And I still have a purpose, I guess. God didn't take
So
me.
happy you're still here. I'm
Well,
so sorry you went through that.
again, must still have a purpose. God must still want me to do something. And so I figured one thing I can do to help people is getting a podcast started and sharing your story to help other people, because everybody's tired of hearing mine, even though I think mine's a good story. But that's the reason I think is one of my purposes, to help other people get their stories out.
For sure. I think that's the biggest thing too. And I think it needs to be normalized to share our stories and to share who we are. Instead of asking someone, hey, how are you doing? Be like, how are you feeling? Because everyone's like, oh, good. How about you? Like, be like, oh, how, like, if, just say, how are you feeling? And if they're like, I'm kind of having an off day, be like, why? People love to talk about themselves, and they love to know, at least I did when I was in that low point, that someone cared enough to be like, oh, how are you really feeling right now? Like, what's really going on? And, my family, my sister, they were all super supportive in that and always really helpful with that. But the problem is I pushed them away. And I really just advise other people to not push your loved ones away when you're in a really bad place, because, you said it too, when you're depressed for too long, you get comfortable in that depression. And that's where I was so comfortable being depressed. I was like, it's never going to get better. I'm always going to hate my life like this. I'm always going to want to die, like all of this. But that didn't have to be that way, because I then realized, and this was the biggest thing that no one told me until I really did it myself, you have to buy in. You have to say, I'm going to learn things to make my life better. I am going to better myself, whether that's going to therapy, self-help books, like whatever it is. Just being able to be like, I got to make a change and I need to do this now. It's never shame to admit that you need help, because help is actually what saved me. Had I not gotten help, I don't know if I'd even be talking right now.
I think ask for help is a bonus. It's a strength, is what I believe into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anybody can sit there and go have the poor pitiful me syndrome. Okay, now, like I said, if you want to find your way out, you may have to ask somebody that's been through it and how they did it, and then what group or organization maybe they belong to, and go try them out. If it's not for you, try something different. Okay, again, somewhere where you can belong, feel open, and then expand everything from like that. So
Definitely.
all right. Let me see. What else? I was going to say, I want to go way back here now. You mentioned you had what's it called? Your math.
Nonverbal?
No, your math.
Oh, yeah.
What was it?
Remedial math.
Remedial. I couldn't think. Let me spit it out. Remedial. Spit it out. Remedial math. Hey, I have a doctoral degree, and I had to in college take remedial math, remedial English, remedial everything to start off to get into the regular classes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And was able to move on and finally get a doctoral degree. So yeah, if that's what it takes to get you to the final destination where you want to go, take it. Don't care what anybody else say. It's you're the one that's going to benefit from it.
Absolutely. And you can never be afraid of where your path is meant to take you, and that means sometimes doing the hard work, which, I definitely didn't love doing, but, it also helped me better myself. And, it also, I realized my strengths and weaknesses, and math is just never my strength. And that's just something that I will constantly have to work at. And that's okay, because writing music, because in my free time, I love to, write music and sing and stuff. And that just gives me so much joy and happiness. And I feel like music can really help heal your soul. I mean, it definitely did for me. I think if music is something that you're interested in, I think it's something I say go for it. I just think music is such a beautiful thing, especially in the process of healing from depression and anxiety. And it really helped me.
I once got paid $25 not to sing. That's how bad I am. That's how bad I am. So, hey, I want to mention earlier, you mentioned about, find people to talk with and everything and ask them how you're feeling, not just how you're doing. And I like it when someone that I'll say, hey, how you doing, man? They go, oh, I can't complain. And then I'll go, yeah, you can't complain. No one listens anymore. I say, but they sure want you to listen to them. So from there.
That's good.
So, you can use some of this old wise from me there, Carolyn, because I'm so much older than you now. You can use some of my wiseness. So, all right, Miss Carolyn, thank you for being here. Hey, tell us about your book again. Go ahead and tell us website, how to find you, any other projects you got going on. Yes. And if you want to give me $25 not to sing, just send it to me.
Yes, I will do that first. Don't worry.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, my book Unbreakable is available on Amazon and also through my website, carolynsophia.com. Through that website, it's I'll spell it. It's Carolyn, CAROLYN, and then Sophia, SOPHIA carolynsophia.com, and then .com. And then that's where you can also look if you ever need a speaker for anything, or you are needing a speaker for your group, your work colleagues, your school, whatever it is. I also am a public speaker, and there is a form there that you can immediately get in contact with me, and then we can set it up from there.
What's your key topics? Bullying.
Anti-bullying, the building blocks of you, really understanding that, we all have building blocks to who we are. And mine for so long were such negative building blocks, but now it's, resilience, positivity, overcoming, really positive things. And I think that that's my main thing too, is, no matter where you are in your life right now, you can stop and reflect and be like, where am I at? And where do I want to go in order to create the best life for myself and for my future? And, it's really kind of just to help you think about what really is important to you and what is something that you want to be for your building blocks, because, everyone deserves to have positive building blocks.
Amen. And get those positive people around you to support. And y'all be a supporting cast for everybody. You can't win the Super Bowl without a supporting cast. I don't care if Tom Brady is your quarterback. If he don't have a supporting cast, you can't win. Okay? Yeah. Can't win the World Series. I don't care if you're the best pitcher in there. You have to have other people that's going to catch the ball and hit the ball and everything. You've got to have that support. Don't give it to me. I see you looking at me over there. Not you, Sophia, Carolyn, Sophia. It's these other people trying to look at me through the podcast. I see you. You're going, what about golfing? They don't have a supporting cast. What about the swimming? What about they don't have coaches? They don't have their assistants. They don't have their caddy. They don't have. Come on, they have a supporting cast as well. Okay, so everybody, I've always heard those story about you can't win the Kentucky Derby by riding a mule. Okay, find you that thoroughbred in life that's going to help you, so you can give it and help them, and help the next person, and help the next person. Let it keep 100 years from now, somebody's going to say something you said that's going to help somebody else in 100 years. Now, hopefully you're still here, but if not, you're dead and gone. Someone's going to pass you wise and wisdom that they learned from years ago. I'm sorry, I got on my Sophia box. So you get it, Soapbox. You get it, Soapbox, Sophia box.
Soapbox, Sophia box. Same thing. No, that's amazing. I love that you said that too, though, because yes, always paying it forward. Make sure to just keep kindness like on your heart as number one, because more than anything, we need more love in this world, and it's really not hard to be kind to someone. You just really just have to know, everyone's fighting through something. So why would you want to be mean? You don't know what they're fighting.
Amen, sister. Now, I was going to tell you at this point, we know people hurting and struggling to get you to leave us a positive message. You just gave a positive message, so I'll grab that message, put it at the very beginning. So you got ahead of me. You did great. So, all right, Carolyn and Sophia, thank you for being here. And thank you for giving us a little information. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And believe it or not, it's going to help somebody in the long run. Go from there.
My Instagram, Unbreakable by Carol. So it's just Unbreakable by Carol. And that's my Instagram.
Again, and I'll put those links in the show notes as well to help people click on it and get there a little quicker. So
perfect.
But appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Everyone else, hey, share this with someone you know that can use a little help. You don't have to know the whole show to be able to get some. Grab a little nugget. Go nugget one of it out of there that's going to help you get through today. All right. Grab 4 or 5 of them for the future. All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Dr. James Perdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.